بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Excuse me. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء وبعد. I'm going to continue with our discussion from last week. We emphasized how all of us have this routine of reciting Surah Al-Kahf every Friday. May Allah give us the tawfiq to continue with this blessed practice, but to take that one step forward and to take out some time to ponder over the message of Surah Al-Kahf. And we were discussing one of the stories that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf, the story of the two friends, either two relatives, two individuals. One of them was very wealthy, had gardens, crops, rivers flowing in his garden, and the other was not so wealthy. And we mentioned how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this story, the ayah, the verses they start from وَضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الرَّجُلَيْنِ جَعَلْنَا لِأَحَدِهِمَا جَنَّتَيْنِ مِنْ أَعْنَابٍ وَحَفَفْنَاهُمَا بِنَخْلٍ وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمَا زَرْعًا. And then the verses carry on, the ayat carry on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went on to mention the conversation between these two individuals and how the one who was very wealthy, the mentality that he had based on his wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions how he started boasting to his friend, أَنَا أَكْثَرُ مِنْكَ مَالًا وَأَعَزُّ نَفَرًا وَدَخَلَ جَنَّتَهُ وَهُوَ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ قَالَ مَا أَظُنُّ أَن تَبِيدَ هَذِهِ أَبَدًا وَمَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةَ قَائِمَةً وَلَئِن رُدِدتُّ إِلَى رَبِّي لَأَجِدَنَّ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا مُنْقَلَبًا. And we spoke about how this is a mentality of human beings. This is not just Allah speaking about two individuals. Allah is teaching us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, you could say, warning us. He's also encouraging us to adopt the appropriate perception of this life, the appropriate mentality that a believer should have, and how a disbeliever thinks, a person who does not believe in Allah, a person whose faith is weak in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what his mentality would be in relation to the wealth of this world. And if we ponder over the state of human beings today, we will see that these two types of human beings exist even today. The majority are those who believe that wealth, the amassing of wealth, accumulation of wealth, fame, social status, these are factors which will make me as a human being successful, which will make me content and happy. This is what we are taught in schools, right? I mean, many of the youth nowadays, you can't really blame them. We can't put the blame on certain individuals, but this is what they are taught. From the time they enter school, all the way through till university, college, they are not taught that if Allah is pleased with you, you will have a happy, contentful life. They are not taught that if Allah is displeased with you, no matter how much money you have, no matter what degree you possess, no matter how much material you may accumulate, you are still a failure. They don't tell us that, right? And you can ask any young boy or girl who goes to school that, do your teachers teach you this? Does science teach you this? This mentality is this mentality of material being the foundation of human salvation or the cause for human contentment and happiness. This is actually a scientific perception. This is what scientists try to impose on human beings. And what I am trying to explain is this mentality this individual has in these verses. It is the mentality of asbab. Asbab is the plural for sabab. Sabab means a material cause, means. Like money is a sabab, it's a cause, it's a means. Food, clothing, property, right? And we are living, our life revolves around asbab, right? Means, material means, causes and effects. This mentality that this individual is displaying is a mentality of believing that causes, material causes, are what benefit us and harm us. They have inherent power to benefit us. Like money inherently is good for us. Like property is inherently, like it has the power to give us contentment and happiness. Like for example, the scientists, they will teach us, they will tell us that it is the clouds that give us rain. Meaning the cloud has the power to give us rain. It is the water that grows crops. Meaning water inherently has this power to grow crops for us. And we can give hundreds of examples. These couple of examples should be enough for us to understand what a scientific perception of this life is, which this individual is displaying in these verses. That asbab, the material causes, they have inherent power within them. They do things, right? Like food, it removes our hunger. Food has the power to do this. Drink, it quenches our thirst. It has the power to do this. And scientists will say all the time, how did this happen? Oh, because of this. How did the rain come? Oh, because of the clouds. How did these crops? Oh, because of the water, right? And they will attribute all benefits. How did this harm occur? Because of the fire, because of this knife. They will attribute harm and benefit to causes. And there is nothing behind those causes. Science will not tell us that there is something else, a divine power behind all of these causes. They will not tell us that. Actually, they deny it. And they will tell other human beings that cause, these are the inherent causes of benefit and harm, and there's nothing behind them. This is the mentality of believing that asbab are arbab. Asbab, which is the plural for sabab, are arbab. Arbab is the plural for rab. Rab means sustainer, the cause, the ultimate cause of benefit and harm. This is the mentality of a materialist. They think that these causes are inherently, they have the power to benefit and harm. This is what this individual is believing, and this is why he says, look at all that I have. That means that I am successful. That means that, this is why he goes on to say, وَمَا أَظُنُّ أَن تَبِيدَ هَذِهِ أَبَدًا. Like if I have all of this, I have everything going for me. I got a good job, I got all this money, I got people working for me. Like what could go wrong? I've made it in life, right? This is the mentality of people who believe asbab to be arbab, causes to be gods. And this is why Shaykh Abul Hasan Ali al-Nadawi rahimahullah, the great giant of the 20th century, right, that many of us have not appreciated, right, the teachings that he gave to this ummah, these teachings that would allow this ummah to traverse the next 100 years in the future. The explanations and the teachings of the religion that he put before us. When he speaks about these verses and this specific story, he says, he mentions how this individual is actually involved in shirk. We don't see this to be shirk. Right? We don't see the scientific perception to be a type of shirk. We think shirk meaning associating partners with Allah. We think associating partners with Allah is to prostrate in front of an idol, to believe in multiple gods. People believe in multiple idols. They worship different gods. Like the people of Mecca, they had a god for the rain. They had a god for sustenance. They had a god for children. They had all these different 360 gods that they used to worship, and they used to attribute benefit and harm to these gods. We consider this to be shirk, but modern day shirk, associating partners with Allah, we could say the scientists are the greatest mushrikeen of our time. This perception of asbab being arbab, this is the greatest shirk. We are like human beings who have this perception. This is why this is so detrimental to our belief. This is why this story is so significant. This is why we are told to read it again and again and understand it, that we don't fall into this shirk. This shirk is worse than the shirk of the people of Mecca, actually. They used to believe in 360 gods. If we are believing now, like the scientists teach us, if we are believing that every sabab has the power to do good and harm, that means, in other words, we are saying every material cause is a god of its own. The cloud is a god, it gives us rain. The water is God because it gives us crops. Food is God because it fills our stomach, it satiates us. Water is God because it quenches our thirst. When human beings start believing this, it's like they are attributing the power of harm in God to all of these asbab. Thus, all the asbab become arbab. And thus we have thousands and thousands of gods people believe in now. But people won't look at it like this because they don't promote this as a religion. And this is one of the cunning aspects of science. They don't promote it as a religion. They promote it as common sense, as the logical understanding of things. But actually it has become a religion now. The religion of materialism, where don't believe in Allah. Allah doesn't exist. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. May Allah protect us. May Allah protect our children. Because if we don't worry about our children, they will grow up saying the same thing. Because they're growing up in the same schools. They're studying the same sciences. Right? So they will end up saying the same thing, that we don't believe God exists. Because we have arguments that tell us how everything is happening. We don't need to believe in Allah. So this is I was saying how this becomes so detrimental. This mentality this has become a religion, materialism, where people do not have to believe in Allah anymore. They don't believe in the existence of Allah. They believe everything is happening because of these causes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in this short little story, and the verses of the Quran are so powerful that they could eliminate, or they could destroy false arguments in just a matter of a couple of verses. Right? The arguments that we sometimes consider to be so significant, that this is a huge objection against Islam. Atheism is a great danger against Islam, or all of these other ideologies. Sometimes the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, in short verses, He refutes such ideologies. And this is the power of the Quran. In this little story, Allah is refuting materialism. And Allah is showing that this is the wrong perception human beings will fall into. And the right perception is actually masha'Allah. La quwwata illa billah. What the second brother told him and said, look, this mentality you are living with, it's wrong. Don't believe that your success is tied to how much you have. and you have no remembrance of Allah in your life, you have no obedience to Allah in your life, and you're thinking that doesn't matter. Remember also another important understanding we should have is that possessing material and wealth is not inherently evil. It's not inherently wrong. The ayat in this story are teaching us that when a person has faith in his wealth and he disobeys Allah and thinks that he is okay in the disobedience of Allah and there's nothing wrong in his life, this is what this story is trying to correct and trying to refute. If a person has wealth, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, there were such Sahaba who were billionaires. But that did not make them from such individuals. They did not believe that their wealth was inherently powerful and able to benefit them or harm them. They were obedient to Allah in spite of all the wealth they had. They were constantly engaged in the remembrance of Allah in spite of all the wealth they had. So that also should be understood. Some people think that if a person has money, automatically he is evil, which is wrong to think, right? The perception our teachings give us is, it is whether a person is concerned with the pleasure and displeasure of Allah, which will ultimately make him successful or a failure. If a person is living his life, whether he has wealth or not, with this concern, that if Allah is pleased with me, then this is my ultimate salvation and success. If Allah is displeased with me, no matter how much I have, I can never succeed. If he is living with this belief, this is a true believer. And if a person, this story is teaching us, is living with this belief that as long as I have materials, I'm good from a wealth perspective, wealthy, healthy, and I'm fine. I'm okay even if I don't obey Allah. Even if I'm not believing in God, I'm fine. I'm having a good, happy, contentful life. This is the belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is rejecting, refuting in these verses. And thus Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the one who lives with this understanding, MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. Everything is by the will of Allah. There is no power and might besides with Allah. La quwwata illa billah. Meaning every sabab, every material cause for it to benefit me or harm me, it needs the permission of Allah. Allah's quwwah is behind every sabab. And thus, a believer, a Muslim, in spite of living in this world with all of these asbab, taking medicine, eating food, wearing clothes, using all the materials of this world, a true believer, deep down in his heart, believes that all of this is from Allah. I can only benefit from all of this if Allah wills. This same wealth that I have, Allah could benefit me with it, or Allah could destroy me with it. This beautiful car I have could be a source of great benefit, take me from one place to the other, or it could be a source of my demise. That is in Allah's hands. Likewise, everything that I use in this life, in this world, material, it is not my Rabb. These asbab are just causes, means by which Allah enforces His will. Allah is the Rabb. He is the Musabbibul Asbab. The believer lives with this belief. And this second individual, this is what he is emphasizing, that you should have said, with all this wealth, if you said, لَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتَكَ قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, then you would have been okay. But the fact that you're living with this scientific belief, you are going to now face destruction. Allah is going to destroy your wealth, because you can never succeed with this mentality. Even if you might make it out of this life with a good life, for sure you will fail in the next. And sometimes Allah destroys such people's wealth in this life. And we are living in a time where Allah is showing this to us. People who are living with this belief of materials are everything, Allah is taking away materials from them. Throughout the world, if our eyes are open, we can see Allah is doing this. In these verses, Allah is saying, this person said, it's possible that Allah will do this. Allah is doing this now to show people that these same materials that you are believing as gods, what's happening to them? In these 2 years, how many billions of dollars were wiped out from the economy? Allah did this. Allah is showing that, if you have so much faith in your economy, where is it? If you have so much faith in your technology, where is it? If you have so much faith in your medicine, where is it? So that people can turn to Allah once again and believe that He is Musabbibul Asbab. He is the Rabb. Allah will continue. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us understand this very important message of this short story in Surah Al-Kahf. And the message carries on in the next page, which is like a conclusion of this story, inshallah. We'll finish that next week. Allah give us the tawfiq. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال الله تعالى: اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يكون حطاما وفي الآخرة عذاب شديد ومغفرة من الله ورضوان وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور. وقال الله تعالى: المال والبنون زينة الحياة الدنيا والباقيات الصالحات خير عند ربك ثوابا وخير أملا. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك بر رؤوف رحيم. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين، وبعد. قال الله تعالى: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأنعم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين، خصوصا على الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعلى سائر صحابته رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أصلح أحوال المسلمين في كل مكان، اللهم ألف بين قلوب المسلمين، اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا واهدنا سبل السلام وأخرجنا من الظلمات إلى النور وجنبنا الفواحش والفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا، واجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. اللهم استر عوراتنا وآمن روعاتنا، اللهم احفظنا من بين أيدينا ومن خلفنا وعن أيماننا وعن شمائلنا ومن فوقنا، ونعوذ بك أن نغتال من تحتنا. اللهم عليك بأعداء الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم إنا نجعلك في نحورهم خيورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العلي العظيم يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. سووا صفوفكم. Straighten your rows, fill in the gaps. MashaAllah, there was an announcement that was made. I'm repeating that. Please put your cell phones on silent, turn them off. MashaAllah, barakallah. And also, there was an announcement made that there will be Salatul Janaza right after the prayer. Before you start your sunan, there are 2 adult females, inshaAllah, that we will be performing Salatul Janaza for. Barakallah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين. قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما. قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة. قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. استغفر الله. استغفر الله. استغفر. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام، تبارك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم لا مانع لما أعطيت ولا معطي لما منعت ولا ينفع ذا الجد منك الجد. يا رب صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. جزى الله عنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم بما هو أهله. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان. اللهم اجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم اجعلنا هادين مهتدين غير ضالين ولا مضلين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم ارزقنا حبك وحب رسولك. اللهم ارزقنا حبك وحب رسولك وحب من ينفعنا حبه عندك والعمل الذي يبلغنا إلى حبك. اللهم اجعل حبك أحب الأشياء إلينا واجعل خشيتك أخوف الأشياء عندنا. اللهم اقطع عنا حاجات الدنيا بالشوق إلى لقائك. وإذا أقررت أعين أهل الدنيا من دنياهم فأقرر أعيننا من عبادتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك فعل الخيرات وترك المنكرات وحب المساكين وأن تغفر لنا وترحمنا. وإذا أردت بعبادك فتنة فتوفنا غير مفتونين. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من عذاب جهنم ونعوذ بك من عذاب القبر ونعوذ بك من فتنة المسيح الدجال ونعوذ بك من فتنة المحيا والممات ونعوذ بك من المأثم والمغرم. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. أنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. سبحان ربنا رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.